And the green wall will be looking to lock down P1. Keep an eye on that mini-map though. The P2 is what both teams will be keeping that positioning for.
Keep an eye on that P2 especially. We've seen the rotation from 2 to 3 yesterday from Optic. One Sublime, it's not a bad start from Hook, but 2 kills underneath his belt, keeping the spawns to P2. Potentially lock Boston in here.
We saw them against Surge yesterday. Optic really put the hammer down. This time though, they are fighting back. You can see Boston getting a little bit of time, but they're going to be wiped out of this one. The most important thing here for Optic is going to be that P2 rotation.
We're in a really good spot here. Optic are able to lock down the areas of the map they need to, and now Boston Breach are going to spawn in an awkward little position. Beans is able to find one, but he's the only one who can. Gets a spawn over towards open, so Boston Breach are a lot closer than Optic may consider.
They're looking for it. Duke trying to hold the door. He knows the challenge coming in as well. Beans will find the first. The trades are coming through, and Shotzi will find it with Dashy. And that is just enough to hold on to it. You can see the rest of Boston now looking to try and wrap this P2.
They're going to have one wrap around the back, and I'd imagine they'll start to try and contest in the middle of the map. Kills start to fall away. It's a 2 for 2 so far. Shotzi trying to stay alive, but good spawns here still for Optic when you consider P3. They're in a good spot. 44 points to their name. Dashi finds 2 and the third. Bruce lighting up the main stage to King. Oh my goodness me!
And yesterday, they did this versus Surge. It is not a fluke, it is just the way things are as Dashi continues to go to work, but a bullet missed. Eventually shut down to Awakening, but it doesn't matter. The rotation is in. Optic are in P3, they have control. It is a hard break for Boston.
And this is what worked out so well for them yesterday. The P2, they flip Boston towards the back. They've got perfect row over towards 3. Shotzi locking down gate. Will find one potential break here from the side of Boston.
Big Wake only finds 2, and it's a big fight up top. Duke stays alive, but Beans will eventually go down. There's a little bit of a spawn out for both sides. It's parallel spawns. They're going to know this, but Optic fill the kill feed. Only Beans remains against Shotzi, but he is surrounded and down he goes. No time for Boston.
Really good rotational play outside of Optic Texas once more. It's what worked out for them against Seattle. It's working out brilliantly to kick off their Sunday here at the Major. Looking down some more time, 15 seconds remaining here. Boston Breach need to now get some good time over towards Cannons in a good spot to start to lock Optic in if they can do. Will be a very big moment for Boston if they can find some good time here.
The Fortress hardpoint has done so well for Optic in the last couple of games. This might become a veto for the rest of the teams. They were not expecting it. For Boston Breach, a way back into this potentially. A full 60 here will do them justice. But they still have to hold off the green wall. Beans desperate trying to get out of it. Dashi will take him down. They are forced to back up. Nero looking for him as Dashi doesn't miss.
14 and 7 from Bruce so far. The crowd showing their appreciation in every given moment. Ghosty with a second as well. This is getting a little bit out of hand as Vivid will find 2 to maybe slow things down. But it's another break. It's 120 and rising for Optic Texas. The lead is above 100 already. Boston Breach are here and heading over towards the Blacksmith. They're trying to lock some good time in, but they have been able to deal with the slaying levels of Optic Texas and set it on the desk. Sometimes they can just come out and fry you, and that's exactly what's happening to Boston right now.
Every single time Boston hit up against either Ghosty or Dashi, they fall like weed. Let's find out though how the green wall is feeling. This is a listening to Optic Texas.
I'm playing for nerd. Where are you guys spawn? I'm playing a nerd. Watch it, big arch, big arch. Get time if you can. Somebody get time. Yo, what guys go? Gate. What's gate? He's getting up benches. Two spot you on. Let's hold your big arch. Drive your phone. My big arch. From backside. He's like, close one Yo, one guy's spawn trapping, going for maps. Yo, open it up. Open. Watch out, going fucking top single. Box. He's behind the box and on time. There's 2 on time right now. Nice hit. Let's fucking go, hit.
Okay, yo, one's going top stone, one's going bottom darkness.
One guy's white. No, he's white truck coming. I'm top single, brother. Heard you. Yo, one guy's nerd sets on new. Nerd on new. Top single. I'm looking top single. He's stuck up. That's Suri. Just Suri.
Watching this cross. He's on top.
Should we take the hyper cross?
And the comms are precise. We go into the second set of rotations, and Boston have only found 35 points. This is no longer looking like a game, it is looking like a mismatch. 21-12 for Dashi as he opens up the heavens and delivers divine judgment to Boston.
It's looking so good for Optic Texas. Boston, as you said, have hardly even had a chance to lock down some good time. They've been broken over and over again. One of the big catalysts for the side of Boston and why they're finding so many wins in this season in general has been Awakening. He's really struggled so far. Dashi just absolutely destroying Boston right now alongside the rest of his teammates. It's looking so good now for Optic Texas. P1 controllers there. They're doing the same thing as they did last time. P2 looking good, although it's slipped through for Boston. This could be their moment of respite to try and get back into this game. You chain P2 to P3, you're back in it.
Now they are looking. Boston back against a wall. We've seen it come back before, but I don't know if we'll see it again at this major. Right now, Optic have all the time in the world to try to lock this down. Dashi looking just to thread the needle, finding the player. Doesn't need to. His teammate will rock in already, and he'll just gun Vivid out of his socks. Nothing there for Boston, as they now have to run and they have to fight for scrap time. It's getting out of control.
And that's the problem. You got P3 spawns if you're Boston, but this 25 seconds over towards the side of Optic is disastrous. Kill starting to flow through now for Shotzi. Does he find beats as well? Makes him weak, comes back from after dealing with Awakening 2. Rotation starting to come through. Vivid, the only one, the only bastion for this side of Boston Breach left in this point. If this rotation goes to Optic, it might as well be game.
P1, P2, P3, Optic have found everything. Boston may has just slowed this down for a second, but Dashi is still alive on a 6 streak, still playing his life, eventually will fall. Shotzi will take up the slack though with 2, and there's nothing Boston can find. Every single time in the kill feed, it's all Optic, as they fight desperately just to get this scrap time.
It's a good amount of scrap time though. 35 seconds still remaining on this hill. Slight spawn out for Vivid there as well. Over towards the double doors. That's one kill. You'll probably find the second. Can he lock this down? Some decent time for Boston Breach. The first time that we've really seen it. But the problem being Optic Texas. Yeah, Vivid's doing great here. They are 15 seconds away from closing out a dominant performance in map number 1. It has to be past perfect for the side of Boston. They have to ascend into something ridiculous here if they want to try and find the win, but it's looking like all Optic, the kill feed, lighten up green, but not the green of Boston. Optic Texas are so deep entrenched. Boston are so far away, and Optic need 10 points for the win.
10 seconds to destiny. You can run from it, you can hide from it, but it still arrives. The green wall continues to put the hurt onto Boston, and now it's done. Now it's dusted. Championship Sunday. Welcome to the 100-point club, Boston Breach.
Domination from the word go. Since you've seen the P2 to P3 that they perfected yesterday, we see a carbon copy from Optic Texas, but it doesn't extend from 2 to 3, it's 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Simply outrageous from Optic. A 1-0 lead. Boston Breach are reeling already.
The question was asked yesterday, what happened to Surge on Fortress Hardpoint? Well, it turns out that Optic have found a new level on that map. They have found something different. And that may just be Dashi. 31 and 16, 27 non-traded kills, 3,287 damage. I don't know what tag class he's running, but if you are running it in rank, get it now.
We talk about the 4-piece, I need to see that again. The knife to finish it off as well, absurd from Dashi. And when he puts up these level of performances, it's just so hard for any AR duo on the planet to deal with. Awakening and Beans are top tier players. They've been phenomenal for the Boston side ever since their inception into this roster. But they just had no answer whatsoever for Dashi. And this is it. There's 1 and 2. Piece them up. We'll have the third as well. I'll tell you what, Nero, have this as well. Number 4 from Bruce. That is absurd.
It was not close. It was not pretty. It was dominant. disgusted. Unbelievable.
That's all you can say about it. Boston Breach were very, very flat from the word-go as well. Couldn't find the kills. Rotations went out the window. I think if we went for a listen in, the comms were probably not even brilliant at that stage. You're floundering, you're thinking about map number 2. That's all you can do. Optic Texas. I don't think we see a lot more Fortress, to be honest with you. That's 2 games in a row. They've blown 2 very good teams out of the water.
Maybe with a good luck charm.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just when we cast Fortress Hardpoint for Optic, they just absolutely dump the teams. It could be what it is. You know, things happen in Call of Duty. The statistics, by the way, 1.94. It's Championship Sunday. These teams are the top 4 remaining. The disparity in that game was shocking to everybody. No matter how big of a fan you are of Optic Texas, you did not expect that coming out of the gates. And I'm ready to see what the rest of this series delivers.
And after that as well for Boston, you're heading onto a hotel search and destroy that your red code doesn't say a lot about. And we're heading into it with an Optic Texas perfect record. The crowd enjoying this one, rightfully so. But my goodness me, how on earth do Boston come back from this one? We have Optic, as mentioned, going onto a hotel. Their record is perfect. Their record in terms of rounds is phenomenal. They'll be feeling super confident on this one, but I will say since the inception of this Boston roster, yes, okay, they've looked okay on hotel search and destroy, but Beans has been a big factor for them with that sniper. But Dashi's also looked very, very good, and in that map number 1, Dashi was above and beyond what Beans was able to bring to the table. Awakening a really slow game from him in map number 1 as well, not something we come to expect. Backs against the wall here for Boston, but it's a good way to come back if you can find a search and destroy and just calm the crowd down. You have to calm them down, or else this will get out of hand.
I will just say this for the benefit of the wonderful Texas audience in attendance. Please do not ruin the S&D. Please allow the players to play it out. We do not need cheering or shouting in close situations. Celebrate after and enjoy the competitive integrity with us. This is a beautiful show and we want nothing to tarnish it, because here it comes. It's time for the S&D. We go on to Greenberg Hotel. Currently, Optic making a big statement in that first map. His S&D is beautiful as well. Do Boston recover? Do Optic take it to town?
Big here for Optic, as we said, a 2-0 record. To kick off a late start on Hotel Search and Destroy, it was one they got rid of from the beginning. But a 12-4 round count will surely buoy them heading into this game. Onto the defensive side for Boston Breach. Optic on the attack and starting fast.
Big push for mid-control. Ghosty. Maybe the first line of defense. Everybody's gone a little bit still. Everybody's waiting. There is some information now. They know he's here. On the other side of it, Shusty, first blood against Nero, gets away with his life. 8 health and first blood to Optic. They have the momentum.
63% of the time they are finding these first bloods. And they are converting them 90% of the time. It's a wonderful, wonderful rate. If you're an Optic fan, Hook will find Awakening as well. The 2v4 scenario now for the side of Boston Breach are surely unattainable. That bomb now goes down over towards A. It is the bait coming out for Optic. And now Boston Breach have got a lot of work to do.
They have to check so many corners, so many positions. They do not have any information on this side of the map. All they know is there are 3 Optic players looking for them, and Ghosty already finds Vivid Beans alone in a 1 versus 3, and down he falls. Only 1 kill on the side of Boston. On the side of Optic, every single player found something.
Teammates for Optic Texas, everyone doing their part. Shotty opening up the gates as he often so does. And again, those first blood statistics are going to be something scary for Boston, because on the other side of things, they really struggle. Only 50% of the time are they finding them, and they are not converting them nearly as much. Put it in that perspective, Optic are converting it 90% of the time, Boston only 60. It's a huge, huge difference. Of course, small sample size for Optic with the 2 games that we've seen them, but the 2 games we've seen them in have been blowouts so far.
Well, already again, the man they rely upon, Shotzi, comes flying out of the gate, down to Vivid. First blood this time for Boston. Hugh goes for the trade, somehow still finds it, will eventually fall to Awakening, and Ghosty gets it back into a 2 versus 2. The opening engagements have been thrown down. And Dashi, they know where he is.
Ghosty's on the way. The bomb goes down. 2 versus 2 now. Dashi and Ghosty trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together. Nero.
Hold your nerve.
Nero's got to surely be the one that can do something here. Dashi good shots, but not good enough. Nero cleaning up 1v2 for Ghosty.
And he's hoping that they move before him, hoping that they try and figure this one out as well. He sees Beans, 20 seconds left, already taking a few shots in the heels. It's going to take a miracle. It's going to take more than he can possibly do because that time is going away from him and they're going to throw shoulders. They will not give him the opportunity. And Beans will take him down. 1-1 now.
As soon as Nero finds that first kill onto Dashi, that makes the difference.
Also, audience, good job not ruining it.
That's not very nice. Round over to the side of Boston Breach.
All right, here we go into the next round. This time on the attack, Optic Texas. They'll be looking to try and get it again. But it is going to be chess, not checkers between them already. Aggressive here from them as well. And Vivid not able to get it. Dashi fighting for his life. There are nades ricocheting off the walls.
Spread out from both these two teams. Not a lot of information. Awakening will gain some with that though. Grenade to slow them down, but they haven't quite made this push yet if you're side of Optic. Boston ready for this over towards B, but they seem to have left a lot of resources over towards this side. So Optic, what is the play here now?
Patience. They are waiting. And so are we with bated breath. Who moves first already? There's a fight gone down. Shotzi tries to make the hero play, hasn't found it. Advantage to Boston Breach. And again, it's quiet.
Heads over the catwalk, just maybe trying to get over the bedroom to find some information, but Boston Breach sat well far back. Hook not able to find anything with that 3v4 for the side of Optic. Time very much running out.
Here we go. They got to move, they got to find it, but unfortunately they lose another player. Dashi and Hugh. We've seen Magic before. Can we see Magic again as Hugh falls? It's only going to be Dashi left. But there is no time to get this bomb to a bomb site, so he's looking for kills, and down he goes. Interesting strategy there from Optic. We've seen it before. You play patient, you wait for a pick. But when you run out of time, you run out of options.
And Boston just didn't give them an inch. You sit in that scenario, you're waiting for a mistake to happen. Boston just hold tight. Well played from them. Not being lured into anything. Didn't work out for Optic Texas, and typically where Optic have had a lot of their luck is where they get aggressive, they find that first blood, and work from there, use the numbers. Not able to get it done this time. The first time in this series, though, Boston Breach have some sort of a lead.
And now, Boston, can they make it 3-1, or will Optic get back? We see the sniper in the hands of the man, and Dashi will find Beans. Holds it perfectly while taking a nade to the face. And Nero gets away with his life as well, but they are down a man here, Boston.
He wants to try and get across, but the move around the outside is going to hurt him, but he's going to have to make the move through couches. Has the bomb here as well. Can he find somebody over towards the A side? Did he chase Shotzi? Yes, he did. 3v3.
And it's passive from Optic. Very, very passive. They are relying on a push through the mid here. Dashi has control with that sniper. They've a little bit of ships in the night. Vivid and Hugh are on opposite sides.
This is a big fight.
Hugh's going to see him as well, and he does. He gets him back. Advantage to Optic. Bomb down for Boston. A 2 versus 3.
And all of a sudden, Awakening has to put his attention over towards this flank. You have to trust in Nero to try to lock down bedroom as Awakening. Still holding this down. Optic starting to move into position. At 3v2 in their scenario, retakes have been on their side, but time is not quite. 20 seconds to go, they gotta move.
Nero is sweating. He's sweating. He knows his player's looking for him here already. He's trying to get it. Awakening trying to get in position as well. Ghosty will take down Nero. It's the Giga Wake for the 1 versus 3. He has to check the time, and he's done just enough. He'll find 2, surely. He has to go for the diffusion. It's actually on it. Oh! Awakening finds him with a grenade just in time. And Optic are not beaten by the players. They are beaten by the clock.
And that, from Awakening, to be honest, after he finds the first kill and goes for the second, I was wondering why he's not just getting down, but he puts the bullets into Hooks, so the grenade is good enough.
I am kind of curious whether or not Hugh was actually on it on time.
It was very close. It would have
yeah.
been very close had he managed to pull it off, so we never know if it would have went his way. But big plays from Awakening, and he wrapped it all the way through middle, so caught Optic off guard in a certain sense. And he would have been expecting him towards the bar side. They have to spin around it. Don't spin around in time. Boston Breach, this is important for them to find themselves in a good start in the search and destroy. It was crucial after that beating. Beans now with the sniper. Dashi shows just a little bit at the top of the head. But Beans now going to be under pressure, and Vivid gets caught out.
And Beans has to backpedal. Optic have taken complete control away. And that bomb is on the cusp of going down as well, and down it goes. They get out scot-free. 3 versus 4. This is better for Optic. It is a nightmare to retake this bomb site with this many players up. There are too many corners. There are too many shoulders to be thrown. Beans is going to find the forehead of Dashi, but 27 seconds remain. It is not a lot of time.
That's a big win from Ghosty. 3v3 was potentially doable, but now Beans in Awakening. Very little to be done here. As soon as Optic Texas find that first blood, force Beans away. This one was done. Back into the game, 3-2 now. Important for Optic to get that one themselves. A 4-1 scoreline, very different than 3-2.
Yeah, I got to say, Shotzi's first blood in that bedroom basically changed it. All of Boston lost position, and Optic took full control. You could even see they're on the retake. There was too many angles to check. They got caught in crossfires. So a little win there for Optic. They get another round on the board. We'll go back onto the attack, this time with Boston. 4-2 or all tied up. Still a lot of lovely sniper play happening so far. Curious if we'll see it again.
Boston already doing better than the majority of teams, the 2 teams who have come up against Optic Texas on this map. Shotzi getting aggressive already. Beans will find one, but Shotzi looks to punish. Nero turns round at the wrong time. Can he find the second under Beans as well? The dagger through the heart of Boston is Shotzi. The tip of the spear of Optic flew true and fast in that scenario. 2 kills for him. 3v2 now for Boston to try and come back from. Perfect from Shotzi to kick off the round.
They just weren't expecting this man to come up with full force, and there's a third for Shotzi. Only Vivid for the ace, and he's looking, he's trying to find it, but Vivid will take him down, trying to make his own 1 versus 3. His dead silence has popped as well. I think he's going to see just the tiniest hint of a player there as well, but he's been spotted in return. Going to go for the wide chow, looking for Hugh, guns him at the same time, trying to stay alive. Vivid looking every single direction he can as it comes down to a 1v1! And Vivid makes the 1 versus 3! Boston, they were broken by Shotzi, but they regained.
I have to ask, I don't know why Hook's challenging it. I know he's in a bad spot, but Ghosty, he's on the way. Stay behind the pillar, don't challenge the gunfight. And you have some help, it's a 2v1, but he goes for the child. Ghosty not close enough to clean things up. That is a huge round. 4-2 now to Boston. Vivid goes huge when he needs to.
And they thought it was all over. Vivid thought otherwise. 1v1, v1, v1. Let's put Texas behind.
Passive approach now from Boston, as it so often is on the defensive side. Optic Texas trying to feel out once again. Shotzi is the one sent away on his own. He'll be dealt with this time around. Nero will find the kill. And now a difficult situation for Optic. Hook puts the issue onto Beans though. The aggression comes through. Is Vivid able to answer? Is Hook going to go for it? He's going to go for it, and Vivid will deal with him again.
I don't think his health was fully back at that point. Hugh may have gone 1 step too fast. Bomb left out here. Dashi though, we've seen him perform magic before. Dead silence in hand. It's like superpowers every time it gets popped. And maybe, and he is going to get the first there. Back down to a 2 versus 2. Boston have trying to play the clock maybe.
Oh, Vivid's going to show himself and back on down quickly. Dead silence still there. Awakening falls into the clutches of Dashi again. And now Vivid on a force spree. Needs to do it all over again. Here for the side of Boston Breach as this bomb will go where he is very much not. I think it's time to plant that. Had it just in time. Vivid now with a job to do.
The call was made. And Dashi answered. Vivid for the clutch again here against Optic. Slightly more difficult with bomb down. Slightly more difficult when you run into the kitchen snakes. And there are players against him and gunned instantly. Dashi to get everything they needed in that round and put it to rest. I've said that Dead Silence is like superpowers. And they may call him Batman, but this time, everything in his hands delivered.
3 kills for Dashi in the round. First one to open it up. The second one was the huge one on Awakening, who just misstepped at the wrong time. Optic closed the gap to 1. Not much Vivid could do in that situation. Crowd still not to be deterred at all. Boston trying to tie this series up. Look at this aggression coming in from Boston and Optic. Not ready for this one.
And now Boston have prime position.
Got so much info here. And yeah, not really doing a great deal with it.
Well, if you think realistically, Shotzi has been causing serious issues with his aggressive play style against them. Boston probably too nervous to overextend. It is a patient waiting game. They've still got plenty of time, but they must not lose first blood in this scenario.
And I think the big reason as to why this bomb didn't go down earlier, Awakening not seeing anything over towards the dual side. But the first kill will be crucial. Dashi probably believes he's got a couple of hit markers there. Shotzi now going to go through. Big kick kill coming in from Awakening. Hook now trying to search for something in the mid-map as well. But a 4 versus 3 for the side of Boston. They've got players in prime position. This should be 5 to 3, but Hook will find one. Ghosty will find another 3v2.
And they're going. The time is ticking. And Optic are looking to get into position right now. They have to. Awakening is going to hold off 2 though. And only Ghosty going to remain. It's a 1 versus 1. He has to fly towards Awakening. He knows the time is against him. And Awakening, discretion is the better part of valor, because you cannot defuse while he's alive. And while he wins the gunfight, he does not get to defuse. 5-3 to Boston.
Big wake with big plays. The 2 that he finds changes that round very, very quickly. Bottom with a perfect scenario there. Optic go for the mid to B hit to try and control that area of the map, trying to match a potential aggressive push from Boston, which does not come. 5-3 to Boston now, looking to tie this series up. Optic, honestly, I mean, the first bloods have mostly been over towards the side of Boston. That's what's helping them out right now. Currently sitting at 5-3 in favor of rounds. It's 5-3 in the first bloods as well.
Door open. Beans with a sniper. Awakening on the crossing the corridor. But Optic with a bold play call in this round.
They heard the stun, so the information is there.
And Awakening. Awakening.
Get out.
Sea of green.
I mean, this is a big stack from Optic. They have to make sure that this is tight. If you are Boston Breach, you're trying to pick in from the outside. Fish in a barrel springs to mind. But can you find that first fish? As Shotzi now waiting, ready and waiting for the side of Boston to start to make their move. 30 seconds to go. First kill to Nero. Is it all going to fall apart as Boston find a way through? Vivid with 1. And it's now a 2v4. Nero with another. Hook left alone.
Trying to find everything here, and he kicks it in. He's not going to find it. Boston surrounds. And they take down Optic. The stack was too big. They couldn't contain the players. And Boston Breach bring it back in this series. 1-1 against Optic Texas. We have a series on our hands. And thank you for behaving impeccably, crowd. That was fantastic. You can make some noise now, it's okay. But wow, Boston took it to Optic on that map ton.
Just first blood after first blood. We said a conversion has been really, really the biggest problem for Boston Breach. But look at those first bloods. They set up quite nicely in line with the round count as well. The 6-3 in first bloods, the 6-3 in rounds conversion. From both 2 teams, wonderful, but the first bloods found more often for Boston Breach, finding those situations. But you've got to talk about the Vivid 1v3. Felt like a moment in the game that changed it. If Optic find that, it's a very different scoreline. We're still ongoing in this search and destroy. But a 6-3 victory, a big performance from Vivid, and a must-needed bounce back from Breach. If they have to go 2-0 down the series' curtains, they will draw it up. And Optic have still got work to do. You may well blow them away in map number 1. Boston strongly back into this game. And an Elisilo control coming up next is a favorable one for the side of the Breach. Got to be feeling good about their position now in this series.
They certainly do. The one thing I did want from this series, regardless of who wins, is a close game. And as we head into map 3, everything's tied up, so I'm happy.
Yeah, we're very happy. We're very happy. These guys, maybe not so much after that one, but we're going to be heading into map number 3 after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. More CDL action on the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty Major here in Arlington, Texas. We are live, we are ready. And during the break, we had a proposal. There's our happy couple. Texas, make some noise. It was beautiful, it was brilliant. It was bathed in green.
The guy in the background just going, oh shit! Wonderful stuff. Ah, we do it all in Call of Duty, don't we? My goodness. Congrats to the happy couple, front row and center for what has been a banger of a series so far. Boston Breach, though, are they going to ruin their day right now? Search and destroy to go to the side of Boston. One apiece now in this series. I don't know now, because we're heading into a control that does look good for the side of Boston. That search and destroy was needed. I thought map number 1 would go Boston's way. Optic blew them out of the water. We're kind of trading map picks here at this stage, though. It's all up in the air still, Bryce.
It certainly is. The thrills and spills do not stop. We head into LSELO control. Who gets to take the lead in this series? At the moment, the statistics are ready for Boston. But maybe the heart in the crowd is ready for Optic.
This is typically the reason as to why you've seen a lot of Fortress. I know crowd you hate it, but Optic have been banning this time and time and time again. This time around, though, it will slip through. Control LSELO is not one of their favorites. Boston at 6-2 is a phenomenal record. Big Wick and Nero, big numbers on this map typically. If Optic can shut them down, they've got a good chance.
Oh, Shotzi already moving. As we pretty much expect him to do at all times here. He has slipped the net, he has found his way into the spawn. He's currently setting platform and he's gotten the first kill. And that is a very aggressive start already. They're going to be looking to get points onto it as Dash will find one Vivid, trying to slow them down to spawn for the reinforcements of Boston start to appear.
Good frosh out here from the side of Optic immediately. Beansnow will find one, possibly shut down Duke here as well, but he's the only one who can answer for Optic Texas. But we'll keep that pressure on. Importantly there for Hook. He could have been just there to soak up more time. Nero will eventually deal with him, but that forces Boston back, allows Shotzi to find himself in this position.
And this is where they're going to excel. Duke and Shotzi will just run rampant. On the other side of it, you can see Viv and Nero try to shut them down, and then the big fights. Ghosty, Beans, Awakening, and Dashi will throw those long-range haymakers across the map. And Duke, well, that's about the easiest kill you're ever going to find. He continues to move, trying to be a problem for Boston.
Not a great start for Optic, but it takes one wave of kills for this to work out in your favor. They know where Beans is. Does he find anything? Well, no, it's his teammate, and then 2 more kills, Dashi and Ghosty. Some for the crowd to get loud about. Progress at A is going very, very quickly. I think Boston Breach may well have to keep this one up. That time will be extended. B now the objective for the side of Optic Texas to try and get a hold of. The first attack round will be good, and 2 kills falling their way.
You are right, it takes one break, one opportunity. Get everything you ever wanted. But for Optic, they find A, but it is a long road to B. Ghosty's going to be here first, trying to make sure he can get those reinforcements off the map. Boston Breach looking for him, trying to find him. Eventually, he will take him down, but Optic still have the momentum. They are taking map control and trying to keep Boston on the back foot.
And that's the important thing. Boston Breach are not even past the 30-yard line, never mind the 50. It's a slow and steady race down the side of the field. Dashi will find a big gunfight onto Beans. Boston Breach have been on the back heels ever since Optic found a way into A. Shuts in now, putting the pressure on towards the spawn. This is dangerous now for Boston. But if you're Optic, you need to push down the right-hand side of the map. Force Boston to spawn where they're spawning now. They can get rid of Beans. This is looking good.
Shotzi staying alive, looking for them coming off the respawn as well. He's been stunned, he's been naded, he's still alive, he's still running away. They're getting on the point, the first tick is in. Shotzi playing this like a man meant to, born to play Call of Duty as that second tick rockets through. Another kill for Shotzi, a 5 streak, an almost 6 streak for Shotzi! And he will get it, he'll get the cruise, they'll get the point! And Optic draw first blood in the control.
Massively important that they managed to find that one. Optic have really been struggling, really on the slaying side of things when it's come down to control. No problem there. 9-3 from Shotzi to kick off the round. It's a 6-3. We'll get to see the latter stages of it. The shots through the tarpaulin here. Beans was dead to rights as he finds a way through. There's the round. Optic advantage.
And it was beautiful. We said it. Duke and Shotzi will try to be pains. Setting it up, keeping them disjointed, not allowing Boston to really set up for it. They never got green control. They could never get through field. They were just digging Shotzi out like he is unbelievable. An 8 and will eventually fall to Nero. But they are going to have to watch him every single step of the way as Boston now try to strike their own blow.
A step back. As Boston, as you said, oh my goodness. That got scary for a little second. Nero puts the bullets into Dashi. Vivid will eventually finish that one up. For Optic now, it's about making sure you have that mid-map control. That's something Boston never had in that previous round. Yet to get it now if you're Optic, of course, as well. Those couple of kills from Vivid have helped Boston get themselves into that position. They just continue for Vivid here. 4 spree now, and the transition over towards B is happening very, very quickly too. Nero may well be getting time for Boston. They've got their eyes on the bigger prize. Not going to happen this time around. They may well have to settle for A. They can even get that.
Now Nero, just alone, surrounded. Will find the fight still, but Beans with another team kill. The most unfortunate of the timing. Vivid should be able to clean this one up though as they try to get the pressure back on the way. Get this clock stopped, get those picks in. But Optic have the upper hand. Right now, Boston are back in spawn.
Optic yet to win a control here at the major. Sitting at 0-4, 2-7 in rounds. It has been their least favorite mode, but right now they're looking to go 2-0 up. 20 seconds now for Boston to find a break. Who gets the bar? We'll find one into Nero. Now he's potentially going to be on the flank for an A push that is inevitably coming on through. Shotzi from the front. Can he find another? It's upset from Shotzi. Vivid sent to the Shadow Realm, but Beans and Nero are here to still keep this pressure on. 9 seconds, Boston have got to go.
They do not have the bodies. One push from Optic could break them. Hugh staying alive, ready for it. Awaken, find it, but it doesn't matter. Still here. Beans on Overwatch, the rest of Optic will pile through the bottom. Hugh flying again, Vivid will fall. The time will tick, Boston comes down from on high, but it's no good. 1 tick, that's all Boston found. As Optic Gaming look to continue. And I'm fairly certain, Ton, you said if they're going to win this match, you'd get that Optic KO, right?
That was not what I said.
I think he said it.
You said something about me shaving my eyebrows if London won it. Well, Optic made sure that that didn't happen, so maybe. So maybe. 2-0 now for Optic, and I think importantly what you mentioned towards the end of that round. 1 tick for the side of Boston Breach, who've just not been able to keep up. 3-9 Awakening, 6-9 Beans. The ARs have been dealt with by Shotzi, who is 17-7 right now. Here we go, Optic Texas now on the route over towards A. This could potentially be something. They get under their belt, they get it done and dusted nice and quickly. Boston have not really had a lot of pressure going forward. Nero in those sort of positions, though, is something they need to find consistently if they want to find something here in this control.
Yeah, both teams actually throwing their fast SMGs the other side of the map. Ready for it, but here he is, the smooth criminal himself. Looking to keep on moving, finds another one. 18-7, never stop, never rest. And he's waiting for the reinforcements to come. Hugh on the other side of the map. They are just being problems for Boston, who cannot keep a lid on these players, eventually shutting them down. But Shotzi's still alive, still running around, still finding more kills. Does not stop. Taped that sprint button forward. And now it slows down.
And it's a wonder as to know why Shotzi and Optic Texas are not great at this map. You think of players like Hydra, you think of players like Pred. They absolutely thrive in these situations. You get him into the middle of El Asilo and you get him frying A. Now over towards the side of Optic Texas. It's pretty much a guaranteed defensive round.
Do it again.
For the side of Optic, if we do go to a 5th, they want to close it in 3. Shotzi, 4 in a row, make it.
Oh!
My goodness, Nero. It's good by Ghosty, yes. But Boston have never really arrived here on El Asilo so far. They need to start extending out. They need a good wipe of kills. They haven't been able to find everyone of Optic Texas. This time around, they will. A good opportunity for Boston to set themselves up.
Best thing here for Optic at the moment is whatever happens, if it goes to a round 5, they have the ticks. Still a long way to go to that point, though. Optic will continue to put the pressure on here, trying to find a way forward. We've said it a million times. They just need a break in the defense. They need a wipe, and this could be over. Vivid fighting for his life as nades explode around him. And it's a huge 2 kills, and Optic are here. Boston are falling back. They are relying now just on Beans, the only player in position, but he is taking bullets from everywhere. They are looking to shut him down as Hugh finds it. Optic are on the point. That first tick is ricocheting through. Like a freight train, they fear the despair. And maybe, just maybe, Boston hold for a second on the back of Nero the hero.
Wow, Nero in the middle of the map has just went absolutely massive for Boston. And because Optic found those kills in a staggered sort of manner, Boston were able to get there in good numbers. Big kill coming in from Dashi as Boston tried to force their way out. Looking towards the lives, remind you of that one, they're pretty much tied up. We're very, very even. Beans will find one, a little bit of respite for Boston now. But can they find a way to keep this Optic Texas wave at bay now? Beans will find one at the shots, 18 seconds to go. It's looking like they're going to close this one out as Hook will get dealt with. Ghosty's the only one to answer. And with 12 seconds, this would take something monumental from Optic to close this out in 3.
They're sending in the rookie. Ghosty is the furthest forward. 4 seconds left. They are going to have to shut this one down. Shots is going to go there as well. Ghosty will be on the point. Dashi will find a kill. Vivid will answer back, and he finds 2. And that will stop this round in its tracks. A little ray of sunlight there for Boston. A little bit of sprinkling on the cake, but it is not the full meal. It is just a round. They now have to do the difficult job of finding the attack twice. They do not have the ticks to get defense. They have to find 2 attacks. Optic just have to stop one of them.
And that is the problem. That last attack from Boston left a lot to be desired. They now need to find 2 of them in a row. Nero really is arriving here, though, sitting here 14-9, but finding some good kills. Awakening has not had a good series. 7 and 13, you expect much better numbers out of him, but just cannot deal with the pressure that Optic are putting on him. Vivid and Nero, though, finding a couple of kills. Good start here for Boston in round number 4.
Vivid trying to get position to see if he can take any of these reinforcements down, but there are players from Optic moving into a better position as the seconds tick by. They're looking for it. Shotzi will get gunned. Vivid trying to stay alive. He's got Ghosty looking for him as well. Nero putting the pressure on, and while Vivid's on 5, Boston haven't really got what they would want from this. Shotzi runs into him again. The cruise missile, this time in his pocket.
Yeah, Vivid just playing his life here, playing the kills. Get a hold of that cruise missile and also just cut off the reinforcements. Look how many members of Optic are actually having to concentrate on Vivid. Continuously frying. Now they can make their way over towards it. Nero and the rest of the gang ready and waiting. Awakening will take down Shotzi, who doesn't really have much help. Hook gets snapped onto by Nero, but stays alive as well, backs down. Optic wanting to be full force to try and retake it here.
And all that time, Boston brought from Vivid has only got them a tick and a half. They will get their second tick in maybe as Vivid sprays down the doorway. But Optic are here in numbers. They do not want to give this one away now. Vivid looking for Dashi. Ghosty backing up as well. Eventually the kills will come through. Shotzi and Beams trading. It is A to Boston. 1 minute 48 on the clock. Can they find B?
And Ghosty does the right thing there. As soon as they lose it, he stays alive, pushes forward. You can see Boston Breach how slow they're being because they know there will be somebody lingering on their flank. That right now is Ghosty. On the front foot, though, is Nero. Trying to find some kills towards the point. Awakening will find one, but keep an eye on Ghosty again. He's played his life so well. We'll find one into Awakening. He's the ace in the hole for Optic now as the pressure comes in towards B.
Nero just stopping this for a few seconds. Vivid finding to towards the back. Long
Good lord!
Nev. And Hugh gets hit. Shotzi having to call in the missile. Having to make sure that they get enough breath into this one. All the tacticals will go through. The rest of Boston get out of the point. First tick in. More kills for Boston. Beans will find a second, but nobody's on that point at the moment. They're just playing for life control.
But the important fact here for the side of Boston, they get rid of Ghosty behind them and he can't do much about it now. Boston just have every single direction covered but in front of them, which is where Optic Texas are now going to start coming from. Nero trying to stay alive on the point. He's been absolutely frying. Force free for him. Pressure still in. Boston one took away from tying up the control. Nero in the point, who can answer back with one, can't find any more. Optic are so staggered, and Boston are surely sending us to round number 5.
Dashi gets traded. That tick is rocketing in. Shotzi tries to be the hero, and he finds 2. That shouldn't have happened. They had it, but Boston let it go. A minute left. Advice and lives all in favor of Boston Breach. But it doesn't always come down to that.
A lot of map control was lost, but Nero's confidence has not wavered. Over towards this attacking side, he's just been killing everything he sees. More pressure in here now for Optic to deal with. Dashi will be the only one to find one. Hook with another from the railings, and they just keep pushing with Awakening. Finds the final kill. You're gonna go if you're Dashi. Can you get in? No, you cannot. It's a round number 5 that we see.
And oh my goodness, Boston. They played the killing game. It forced Optic to be a little bit more austere with their lives. Vivid and Nero may be the difference.
Absolutely Vivid on that streak towards the beginning. 7 in a row, matching Shotzi as best as he can from those first 2 rounds. I want to say that, did Vivid even use that? I can't even remember. I know Shotzi used his, so bear that in mind as we head into this final round. It will, of course, be the attacking round for Boston Breach again. Both teams finding attacks and defenses on this El Asilo control.
Well, we said it. Boston will have to win 2 attacks. Optic have to stop 1. They failed on the first. How they find it this time as well. Nero continuing to try and do something for them at the moment. Boston slow again. They know Dashi is up top. It is a power position. It is a nightmare to get them out of it. Beans and Awakening trying to do just that.
With Dashi now being pressured, Awakening will find Ghosty and Dashi. And now there's an opening for Boston Breach to find something over towards the east side. Here come Optic.
Hugh somehow managing to shot that perfectly and getting away with it. Nades being thrown through as well. Hugh will eventually find Beans. Optic stop the bleed for a second. Nero knew. Nero was checking every single corner, ready for Hugh and Shotzi, but it's no good. He checked and it still didn't work out. Shotzi, superpowers activated, finds a kill on the flank, and that's all he does. Runs around in circles and guns people.
Nero finding an important one under Shotzi there. Boston haven't had any map control, haven't had any objective control either throughout the majority of this. Ghosty find a kill on a Vivid over towards that side of the map as well. 8 attack has to be the role here for Boston Breach, but who can Ghosty shutting them down? 25 seconds. Optic trying to take the lead in this series once more.
And this is the problem. You've got to dig Hugh out. You've got to find Shotzi every time they keep flanking. They are putting Boston back. 18 seconds left to go. Optic have done a marvelous job so far. They just have to hold. And Hugh on the flank once again. He should be able to find maybe one. And Beans is alive somehow. Dashi on the other side. Hugh has to back off. He's waiting for this cruise missile. The second tick is in at A.
Progress here for Boston, but it's do or die in this control. Vivid holding it down. Shotzi to the rescue though, is it? He finds 2 on the point. Can he find another? Dashi with 1. There's Beans answers back. Beans has got to get in the point. He's got to slow it down. He needs the rest of his team to be here for him.
Oh, and Dashi beams the first. Dashi does not beam the second though. Beans will get him, and they're trying to get it. Hugh does not want to let this one go. He flies in and finds the kill. Doesn't find a second one. Awakening with 2 of his own. Shotzi gets 1 back, and they're not here. Boston are not on the point. They cannot show it down. Optic win the control. They just had to stop them once. And the trades flowed like water at A. But the green walls a brilliant dam. And they walk away with the control.
Just consistent pressure from Optic Texas. They just did not let up. The SMGs running amok inside the bar, consistently behind you, and Boston are trying to clear up their rear every single time. The flank has to be dealt with. The flank has to be dealt with. They can't find them at any given point. And all of a sudden you have to start panicking, you have to start moving, you have to just start hoping and praying you can lock something in. But Optic Texas so resolute. They find themselves their first control of the major. Hardpoint Mikado coming up. Driving seat springs to mind here, Brycey.
It does. It's a big win. Crazy in the end. You've got to give full credit. Hugh and Shotzi just went to work. And if you enjoyed the end of that control, we are going to see it again. It is our scuff play of the game. Here's how it went down. Trades everywhere. At this point, they should have had it, but Shotzi finds the double. Dashi will then hold his nerve against Awakening and trades both sides, and Boston falter.
And I like this from Dashi to go for the kill on the players coming in. Because Beans finding that kill, even if he doesn't, Nero is there to potentially do something about it. It's smart play, once again, from Dashi. Didn't have necessarily the best of games himself, but Shotzi was dominant throughout. Just not enough time for Boston to get themselves over towards B. And now, Optic once again find themselves in the lead with their hard point coming up And I'm not being funny, but Optic have been blowing people away in hardpoint this week. They have to be feeling confident about this one. Mikado coming up, they have been lights out on this map. Their pick, they gotta be feeling good, but this is how things worked out in the El Asilo. Slight outslay for the side of Optic Texas, but the number that is important in this one is the one on the left-hand side.
And yeah, we identified it early on, right? We said Shotzi and Hugh just causing havoc inside. They were pressure, they were flanks, they were let loose. There are 1,000 corners to hide in, 1,000 doors to open, and 1,000,000 routes to check. And they made sure that they were hiding in every single one of them. Are you afraid of the dark? Because you should be, because these two are lurking.
56 engagements from Shotzi. That's what you want to see for an Optic fan. You want him in their faces. He's going to cause issue at every given moment. Hook with a good game as well. 22 kills. Only the ones that could be found by Boston, but there we go. An Optic lead again. Mikado hardpoint, and then a Fortress Search and Destroy if we get there. It's a one that they will not mind at all, and now Mikado coming up as well. We'll talk about the stats in just a second. But with the way that these guys have been playing Respawn, in general, they've got to be feeling so confident in this map number 4.
Yeah, that's the truth. There's nothing really much else to it. Optic has been a little bit of different gravy here on the hard points. And confidence will be abound just from that control itself. On the side of Boston Breach. They beat them once, but that series looked a little bit different to this one. Looks like Optic Gaming are ready for revenge. One more map will do it. And they probably don't mind which one.
They won't care. Boston Breach now needs to find something, or will this crowd be welcoming Atlanta FaZe onto it? The stage will be awaiting them, as will Optic Texas, if they can close it out here. I hate to belt things up and tell you that we've had a small crash. We're not be loading in yet. We're looking at the man on the left-hand side, that Ghosty. He's really been influential for this side. Hasn't necessarily been putting up a load of hill time, which is really something we accustomed to these AR players. It's very much a reversal of the roles that typically have happened in Call of Duty in years gone by. You think your ARs are outside, your SMGs in, but no, the ARs are the ones who lock it down. But typically that's not been the case with Ghosty on this map, although the best KD for Optic since he came onto this roster does belong to the rookie himself. But Dashi will be confident. He looks at heading into this one. And if I'm Boston, I want to see more from this guy. Awakening has not really arrived in this series in the level that we know he can.
Well, while we wait for this one, of course, it's a reminder of what awaits us in the rest of this tournament. Atlanta FaZe have gone to the lower bracket. Toronto Ultra have moved on to the grand final. It's been a wild, wild weekend here at Major 3. And here's a reminder of how it has gone down. As you can see, we started off beautifully on that first day with, I would say that was probably the tamest day of the Thursday, Ton.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy when you consider it. FaZe coming out with a statement, as did Breach. Ultra comfortable. Surge, not so much. Friday, honestly, was wild.
Yeah, we went for the elimination bracket and Legion's win versus Gorillas, but maybe their win against Thieves was even more remarkable. Thieves took down Rocker, that was expected. And now, Biter, for Optic versus the Royal Ravens, and the Mutineers took down the Major 1 champions in the Subliners. And as we continued on, it only got better from there. I've been told all the players are in the lobby. Everybody's loading through. We can see the loading screen. Texas, let's make some noise. Let's see whether or not this game gets underway. Optic need one more map. Boston need 2. Everything looks good from my end. So here's some stats from Dashi.
Just a monumental figure for the Green Wall. There's so often the guy that can get the job done on every single occasion. Put up a hell of a game in map number 1 on the hard point when we were over in Fortress. We're heading into Mikado. Boston this season have not won this map. Optic Texas, it is in your hands. Can you close out this game and set up a date with Atlanta FaZe in the losers bracket final?
That is going to be an exciting game if we make it, but at the moment both teams playing for positioning. For Optic, it's all about seeing if you can get in this flip or bleed points off of P1 for Boston. Spread wide and hold the angles.
Rotations have been a big issue for the side of Boston. They're going to want to make sure they're locking in these P2 ones if they can, but the flip immediately. Bad news for Boston. Straight from the rim. Dashi with 2 now, over towards the dark side, just trying to lock down the lanes as best he can. Boston reaches nowhere near it. And they're having to get through Bruce, which is just such a hard task. Make it 3. 5 in a row for Dashi to kick off the game.
He's doing it again. Dashi, the man who will not be moved, the man who doesn't miss. A streak off the rip, the cruise missile in the back pocket. And now Shotzi waiting. Patient like a hunter, will find the first, not the second though. Will get taken down. Pressure now down the back alley. Hugh waiting for them to come out of the Barber's haircut for all involved. And Hugh waiting for this last one. Will have to get out of there because of that grenade, but Optic Texas again.
Locking it down. They just haven't gotten anywhere near this. Give Boston in the first 30 seconds. They all find one on a Shotzi. Try and get something going. We'll find a second on the Dashi. He's done so well to find all of these. My goodness, Nero breaks it open all on his own. He was the guy to try and bring them back into the control. Make it 4. Nero going lights out over towards P2, but P3 is what we're talking about now. That is a little bit of a light at the end of a very dark tunnel for Boston Breach. It was not a good start, but Nero drags them back into it.
They have the control. Optic have numbers here. Dashi already going to commit this. Probably just the information. Throws it through the building, and he will find Vivid as well. Awakening Beans now have to hold off the onslaught. Hugh finds himself in diving around. Beans will get him eventually. Shotzi will get the trade for him. Optic are here in more numbers than Boston. They now have control of 10.
Nero just trying to play his life a little bit now. 5 spree for him. Vivid will get dealt with his Ghosty and co. Will find this break seamlessly. Shotzi shuts down Nero before that streak can continue. Beans, though, doesn't catch the grenade, will catch the kill. Ghosty will take him down. It's a brilliant hold unless Vivid can do something about it. Shotzi shuts him down. P3 time. Optic Texas rotation is there for Boston. That is a lot of time over towards Optic once more.
And while Boston thought they probably had that P3, they're going to be a bit more confident about P4. Can they find the position before Optic descends upon them? And he's going to go for it. Beans gets gunned. No, he doesn't. He gets grenaded before he can do anything. Vivid now knows pressure's coming towards him at all points. Hugh will find his second. Barbers is wide open. Awakening desperately trying to hold this off as he knows pressure coming through. That grenade is not good. It's actually stopped Boston from getting in the point. It's all going wrong.
It's not going right. Unless you're an Optic Texas fan. Nero and Vivid combining well. Vivid finds a second, but is that going to be enough? Now it's going to be Beans left all alone. It feels like every single second is so important for Boston now. They need to steady this ship immediately. But the kills still flowing through. Make it 3. Number 4, here it comes. Shotzi shuts him down. These breaks have just been so well orchestrated from Optic Texas. Nameless said it best. Sometimes you're just getting fried. It is a 50-point lead and growing. Beans will find 2, but the rotational kills going over towards Hook, but he's the only one here.
Beans will find it. Perfect nade through the top. And they need this rotation here. Boston know the pressure is upon them once again. Another kill. Ghosty finds Nero. Reinforcements. Faltering. He's looking for it, trying to find Dashi. Can't get it. There's players all around. Oh! He finds 2. Surrounded and outnumbered. Boston do not hold again.
Just 0 holding power from the side of Boston Breach has really been the issue all the way through. Awakening will find 1, but it is a steady 60 points and rising for Optic Texas so far. Awakening challenging things solo. It's not looking good for Boston. Beans will find 1 to try and break things open. Cannot find the second. And it's now getting to the stage where Boston look uncoordinated. They look shook on the main stage. Shotzi 12 and 6 looking to add to the slaughter. Awakening falls. This is just too easy for Optic right now.
This is a different level. As said before, Optic has gone further than we expected from their offset, but they have improved with every single game. Today is another point proven. They are running over Boston like they did in the first hard point. Boston will have the controller to the Cantina. Ghosty is going to be here. He eventually falls. But it is almost a 100-point difference now as we hit the rotation.
And Boston, if you are them, you must get a full, decent hold here. Cantina control looking good. Vivid will find 1, Vivid will find 2. 4 spree for him at this moment in time as Hook will find a breakthrough. Can he find the second as Awakening holding on tight? 4-13 has not had a good series.
Awakening, and when they need him to large inside, they talk about big wake, but it's a big mistake at the moment. And there's nothing they can find. It is another break for Optic. And things are beginning to look a little bit dire as Optic continue to go to work. Nero has done everything he can so far, but it may not be enough.
Rotation here for Optic over towards P7. Looking so good right now. Every single bit of scrap. Boston need to beg, borrow, and steal right now for anything they can find on the map. But the kill feed lighting up the wrong shade of green if you're Boston, the right shade if you're Optic Texas. P7 control. Just about there. Beans, we're going to spoil the party here with a kill on the Ghosty. We'll find it. Needs the rest of Boston to get near him. He needs to stay alive as well. But Dashi and Shotzi combining well. Optic Texas will surely break 200 here.
The trades are never there for Boston. They are always there for Optic. They're trying to get the pinch going through him as well, and he does get it down. A respite for Boston. They managed to clear the field for just a few seconds. We'll get back into it and look for a setup. Nero only finds one. And Optic ready to strike.
Dashi with an unbelievable kill onto Awakening. Boston have brought this into the realms of possibility. Shotzi cannot find the kill. Beans trying to lock it down here as Ghosty will find two though. He's having a good game at 18 and 12. Dashi will be there again. The ARs of Optic Texas have been dominant.
And in other games, it's been the SMGs. It has really been quite one-sided. We are about to enter our next set of rotations. Optic in a commanding position within lethal range on any one hill. And Boston Breach, they need a miracle, they need prayers, they need sacrifices. Because if they don't find something now, this game is over.
Beans trying to find something over towards the tunnel side. Good kills coming in here from the side of Boston. Hook with the big one though, to lock down P2. 20 and 14 out of him. As Cantina will be on the line very, very shortly as Vivid and Beans finding the kills in the middle of the map. Hook's still here on his own.
There's three. Dashi still going to be fighting for it. 21 and 9. Oh. Eventually will be taken down. There's a lot of kill feed here for Boston.
Oh, that's a big kill because if Ghosty slips the net, it causes problems in the rank of Boston. 15 seconds to go here. This is good time over towards P1. You've got Optic spawning way out as well. It's a nice setup from Boston, but we've seen a couple of them already. A couple of kills coming in for Optic, but can Boston hold on to this? They're spawning out. They're dying at the wrong time.
Vivid's alone, and he's gonna get gunned. Dashi has not been missing this entire hard point. Optic, they break the P2. Pressure coming from back alley from Boston. They have to go. They cannot afford to lose these trades. They don't have to do much. Nero finds one as well. They get themselves back into Cantina. It was almost disaster.
Staying alive is Nero now. Just about the 220 point mark if you're Optic Texas. It's a confident lead, but one that could get nervy if Boston can find well anything. But this kill feed looking green on the left. Shotzi, Hook, Dashi combining together. They can just about win it here if you're Optic Texas. 20 seconds to go. Boston have stopped that tie for just a little bit, but Hook will find 5. They'll need to see the next hill, but they may well be heading there with only needing 5 or so points.
Boston have not held tin any time they've tried. And Optic are close. So close they can taste it. But are they lost in the sauce? Let's find out. Optic, 3 seconds until they get revenge at the major and go top 3. Shotzi hitting a route. Doesn't find anybody. They are now looking to execute, but it's only Shotzi. The reinforcements aren't here, but it doesn't matter.
He will wait. The rest of Optic here in numbers now. Here comes the break. Optic through the front door. It's going to be Shotzi Awakening near a hold on tight though. Dashi's the only one who can find anything. Good hold from Boston so far.
Duke finding one, looking for the second, will eventually fall. Just a breather here for Boston, but Shotzi's not slowing down. He's going straight for it, looking for Nero. Got him. Look for the second. Snake's going to fall eventually, but Dash is going to be here as well. Ghosty finds the kill, finds the time, and Optic gets revenge on the main stage.
The order is in. It's beans on toast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for Optic. Phenomenal performance to kick off their championship Sunday. They deal with Boston in the best way possible. The S&D was shaky, they will care not. And it is a date on the main stage in Dallas with Atlanta FaZe. That's coming up next.
And I don't know if you've seen what I've seen, but Dashi is different. Dashi is delightful. Dashi is divine. He is the dagger. He's the righteous retribution in hard points so far this tournament. 30 and 13 on Mikado. He did it in the Fortress hardpoint against Boston. He did it in the Fortress hardpoint against Surge. It is not realistic. You should not be able to do this consistently against the best teams in the world. But when they summoned him, when they called him with the light in the sky, he answered that call and brought a beautiful game to the major.
How wrong we all were. Hey, look, Nameless catches a lot of fun for this, but we had all the same feelings. Optic Texas, the roster change, the thoughts around it. We queried it, the questions, Twitter, Reddit, everywhere, across the scene. But every single question that has been asked of Optic Texas since Friday has been answered with screw you. We are sensational on our day. Ghosty with a brilliant performance again, soaking up that hill time. Dashi at 30 and 13.
I was hoping for another dub like yesterday.
Monumental performance from Bruce once again. Everybody from Optic Texas firing on all cylinders. Boston Breach, they will bow out in fourth, which I believe, you know what, is a pretty good placement for them, but they will be disappointed in the manner that it did come through. They were no match for Optic today. A 3-1 decimation of Boston.
Wow, I'll tell you something, Dashi is shooting so well recently. There's probably 30 moronic YouTubers making a video about him and how he's probably cheating, but what do I know? Ridiculous from Optic here, and they will continue on, and awful good game coming up next. But before we get that, I'm gonna throw it over to our desk to break this one down.
Well, there it is, the green wall, they get it done. Massive victory over Boston Breach. They righted the ship, right? Go back Thursday, they lose 3-0. This time they win 3-1. I honestly cannot believe the performance we are seeing out of Optic. It's incredible. These guys are so lights out. This tournament could be theirs.
Oh, it definitely could be, right? Next, they're going to play a FaZe team who they beat online just to, a week or so ago. But, yeah, I mean, they're frying. I think the big thing here is their hardpoint has really come, into fruition. Like, they are playing top-level hardpoint right now, and that was that game mode that was kind of 50-50. But they, found their map pool. Right now, it's sort of Fortress and Hydro. Those are their go-tos. Which one do you want to play them on? That's going to be the question for Atlanta FaZe. But, yeah, I got to give props to the ARs. Dashi and Ghosty both really fried that series.
Yeah, gotta go to Hardpoint, because Hardpoint really standout team. For me, at least, was Boston Breach. Their Hardpoint was out of this world. Their control was looking great. And then all of a sudden now Optic Texas taking Hardpoints, taking control.
That's what's so insane about this series is that Boston Breach is typically one of our stronger respawn teams. When they're winning these series, it's off of all the respawns and stealing search and destroy if they get lucky. I think Dashi's performances in map number 1 and 4 is really what impressed me throughout this series. I mean, in Fortress, the 250 to 91, he goes 31 and 16. Ghosty close behind, 23 and 18. I didn't think Dashi could top that performance. And then we go into Mercado Hardpoint, 30 and 13.
I need this guy built. I don't know what he's rocking.
That's what I'm saying. We need that setup YouTube video. ASAP Rocky, Dashi.
Man, listen, Dashi is him. Like, I'm gonna just say it. Like, he did this at Major 2, absolutely frying. People starting to question whether or not he had the ability to do it with the new roster, me included. And now he is just going off in the hard points, and he's doing it in such a great way. Like, he started off that game 6-0, and then he backed up, didn't keep on playing for those spawn kills, backed up to B2 with the setup with this squad. The discipline is there. They're learning from their mistakes they made early on. This is a Boston team that was undefeated in hardpoint throughout the tournament. Now what you turn around and you look at the stats, whereas Optic had 7 straight hardpoint wins since that game 4 against the London Royal Ravens. You talk about, Joe touched on it, like with their map pool. It's like, okay, nobody really wants to play him on Hydro. You tried that. Hell no, right? And now I'm looking at Albagro. You look at Seattle and you look at Boston. Those are 2 good respawn teams. I don't want to take them to Fortress. You can just run around, gun me, Dash, you can sit top dub, and then Mercado as well, where the SMGs really get going. Their hardpoint map pool has suddenly become unbelievable, and it is a problem, as we've been seeing, for every team in the league.
Dashy was unreal. Look at that hardpoint KD, 2.1. He stepped up to the plate. Every time I'm looking at Shotzzy as well, even though he doesn't have the best stats across the board, I mean, he's beaming players left and right.
I mean, listen, just sort of the chemistry between sort of, who can Shotzzy, even going back to the Dallas Empire team when they were world champions. This isn't like your typical Abizi and Simp sort of entry and kind of roaming Slayer. I don't really know how they both they must have something like telepathically. They just understand each other's roles very, very well. Like, it is a really untraditional sub duo, but they make it work. They both take turns frying on the map. And yeah, those two, depending on how well they are playing, that's how far they're going to go.
Well, we talked about the hard point. I want to go back to that control because that's actually our scuff play of the game. Let's talk about that clutch play, that round number 5 on control. Allie, what did we see?
I mean, honestly, when it comes to LSULO, it's typically a defensive heavy map. It's one of those ones where you're going to want that round 5 defense, but both these teams stole an offense in this series. So for it to get pushed to a round number 5, I mean, the cards were in the hand for Optic Texas. It almost slipped out of their fingertips with 8 seconds to go, but it's the big plays out of the SMGs, right? They get up, they get that spawn trap going, they find a couple of kills, they start trading each other out, and they don't even let that A zone get capped. So just a really dominant defense out of them, especially when it was down to the wire.
I also think, just being honest, control changes a little bit on land, right? Like, obviously you can hear a lot better online. It's easier to clear out your base. The comms probably aren't as hectic, right? And on land, you got a guy like Shotzzy and Hoop making plays in your base. Like, it's going to be harder to find them. And naturally, like, Hoop was alive for a good minute in that last round, just behind them, making plays. So Optic just put him in the blender there at the end. And also in this series, like, if you can't slay, you can't win. And Boston's last couple of games, and the respawns in general, like, they weren't able to slay.
That's right. And you got to question control. If it goes the way of Boston Breach, how does this series go? Because, they won the Search and Destroy 6-3. They were looking very strong there. It could have been a very different series. But the point is, Optic Texas did exactly what they needed to do to get the victory. And that means they move forward. And that means on land here, we are going to have Optic Texas versus Atlanta.
Yo, whoever wrote this script, you're crazy, bro.
Good as gold, baby. That's going to be coming up after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Can you hear me? What's going